Hello everyone and welcome to my Minecraft survival world. As you can see in the background, I've already started working on the blueprints for some of the larger projects I have planned. But first I wanted to head to the nether. I wanted to show you a really cool project that I'm working on now, and I'm super pumped to get this started because if this actually works, I think this is going to be really cool, and it will honestly be the most technical project I think I've ever worked on in Minecraft. So I'll take a ride up to the top close to the nether ceiling because I have built a gold XP farm on the roof of the nether. Now this is Elmango's design, and if you haven't seen that video, I'd highly recommend it. I always learn a ton from watching his videos. Now the whole purpose of building this was so that I could get a really fast, reliable XP farm so that I could enchant all of the gear that I needed to go to the end to beat the Ender Dragon. Now I really need elytra, and I realize that getting to the top of this farm with elytra would be super easy, but seeing as I don't have it, that this is really the fastest way that I can get to the top. And you know what, it was kind of fun to build. Collecting all that material, building it, was actually kind of fun. You know, I'm coming back to Minecraft after a couple of years of not playing, and a lot of this stuff is really new to me, so it's actually kind of fun to learn. You know, this farm is probably overkill for what I need it to be. But, you know, that's kind of the whole point and the motivation for this series. Just to see if I could push the limits of what I could do within a solo survival Minecraft world. The farm itself works great and I can get levels very quickly, but I wanted to see what I could do with handling all of the drops that come from this farm. So the solution that I've come up with is this Instadropper line, and just checking to make sure that, because if they're aggro, they will jump down and try to kill you. And that's why that wall is there, because I have died many times trying to construct this. And this comes from a SciCraft episode where Ilmango was showing how items can be instantly transported throughout the nether. And so far, this setup has been working pretty great. Now what I've come up with is that at the end, the items will be shot out of this dropper here and aligned and shot through the portal with that slime block. Now it's based on this etho clock here, which is only activated if this line of redstone here is activated. Now this turns on once there are items in the system. So let me quickly jump back to the beginning. I'll grab a few items, throw it in the system, and just to show you how that works. Okay, I'm gonna grab a few stacks of rotten flesh here just so I can throw through the system, just to demonstrate how this works. Once I put it into this dropper here, this comparator will activate, causing this piston to fire, pushing up the observer block, creating a clock. Now you can see the items, when they're put through here, they go through pretty quickly, and the clock is now firing. After a certain number of blocks, I think about 8, the signal is repeated. This causes every dropper within the system to actually fire, and this is what causes the items to go through the system very quickly. And because there are items in the system, this clock right here is now activated, and you can see the items are now being aligned and shot through the portal using that slime block across the ice. Now I'm going to grab a few of these drops here right now in a second, just so I can show you what that looks like on the other end. When the items are shot through, the other dimension is actually loaded temporarily, and I can show you that here. I'm going to throw a few of these in, and let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay, so a few rotten flesh actually make it through. This is because the redstone on the nether end is still active for a few seconds, so you'll see that the items will come through. Now, there you go. As you can see, all of the items here have been collected here, so this is where I'm going to start to build the collection system for all of the drops. Now the XP is really great, but I want to be able to handle the different drops because I would also like to use the gold. I've been using a lot of rails and powered rails, and that usually takes up a lot of gold. But what I want to do is to utilize the swords as well. I want to put them into a separate collection system and then run them through a smelter. So that's the big plan. Let me throw some items in here, and I'll show you exactly why I decided to do the big farm. Okay, let's head over to my other XP farm. But first, here is my temporary villager breeder kind of library setup, and the breeding chamber, which is always empty. Not sure why they keep despawning. But this tunnel goes over to where the original XP farm was, and I built this thinking that it was going to be better than it was, and here's a good example why you don't build a 3x3 killing chamber, because, yep, you can kill a few of them, but then this happens. And so you have to run around, and, you know, this takes forever. You don't get XP very quickly, and, you know, I probably should have built this in a better location, maybe higher in the sky, and mob proof around a little better, but it wasn't really fast enough, so I'm probably going to be taking that tower down. Now, to wrap up this little tour here, here's my enchanting room, and where I make potions, and where I currently sleep. So I'm going to head over to the portal area now and finally get started on this build. Well, I've been standing here for far too long, staring at this, trying to figure out exactly where to start. Um, I think I have an idea now. I'm just going to just get it started. If I have to change it, that's not a big deal. I'm figuring this out really as I go, and I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. I don't really have a build to go off of, so I'm just going to have to see how this goes. And I think that's going to work. Okay, that dirt is going to be where the soul sand goes. I'm trying to make the item elevator to go up to the water stream so that I can build the storage. And I wanted to try these glass panes to see if I could make a different type of elevator, just to make it look a little different. Not sure how it's going to turn out, but anyways, we'll take a look, and I'll build this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that the elevator is built up, I'm going to start working on the bubble columns. First, I'm going to drop some water in, and yep, it goes right to the end, and I'll just wait for it to go down to the bottom. And once I get there, I'll just put in the kelp blocks. Do this so that we can create water sources for each of those blocks, and then I'll quickly jump down there and replace the sand with the soul sand. Hopefully this works. Yeah, there we go. That works all the way up to the top. Perfect. And I'll just cap that off so the items don't fly up. And it's looking pretty good. I'm not completely sold on the panes yet. Let me take a look from this angle. Yeah, I don't really like that. So that's probably going to go. But anyways, let's test this out. I want to see if the items collect, so let's head to the nether. So I'll just grab some rotten flesh again from these chests here. And I think 3 will be enough. And I'll put it in the droppers here to send through the system. And I think I could watch this all day. This is really cool. Okay, I'm back over, see if we can catch some of them coming through. And no, maybe it's done, or I just didn't get it in time. But actually, it looks like the items made it to the top. This looks really cool. All right, good. This looks promising. Let's see if we got 3 stacks. And we're short 2, but you know what? Probably not a problem. I might have gone through the portal a little bit too quickly. I'm going to do a little bit more testing and build up the rest of the item collection and the loop that is going to send the items through continuously until they collect through the hoppers. So I'm going to get that built. I'll be right back. Oh well, I think I derped up real bad here. I forgot that swords are non-stackable items. And the whole plan was that I would have these 2 columns of chests here just for swords, 2 columns for ingots, and 1 for gold ingots, because they don't drop at the same rates as the others. And I was going to put in the item filters here at the back when I realized that they're non-stackable and you can't use the same item filters. So I really don't think this is going to work, which means I'm going to have to take this whole thing down go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how I'm actually going to separate these items and make it work. I think it's probably a good idea that I go to my redstone testing world and really map this out before I waste any more time on this build. Yeah, this is pretty painful. Okay, well, once I figure that out, I will be back to show you the progress that I've made. So here's the progress I've made so far. I've removed the water loop at the top and replaced all those chests with these two silos here. I think this is actually going to work out a lot better. And once each chest is filled, the lamp will light on, letting me know which one is actually full. And once these are all full, it'll let me know when I need to start transferring these items into the main storage that's going to be inside the pyramid. So this will kind of be like a secondary storage, which I think will work great. I've decided that all of the redstone is actually going to go underneath the platform here. This will be a water stream. All the items will align against that chest, but I still need to clear out this whole section here. I've cleared out enough space now that I can start laying out the positions for each of these droppers. These droppers here will take the filtered items, either the ingots or the nuggets, and shoot them into their own water streams, which will connect to either one of the silos. And to do that, we'll need observers, and it looks like I forgot them, so I'm going to have to take another trip back to the base. You know, the number of times that I have had to go back to the base to grab something has, no exaggeration, maybe 40 at this point. I've cut out so much, and it would help if I put the observer in the correct place. We want the observer pointing into each dropper, and I'm going to have to clear a little more space here. It's not enough. Basically, what I want to do is to create a circuit to detect when there's an item in the dropper, and if there is, to create a clock with another observer and just drop each item into the water stream so that they go up and into the silo. But before I do that, I want to lay out the water streams first, just to make sure I have enough space for each of the filters and the water streams. So I'm going to quickly do that, and once I'm done, I'll be back. So the item elevators and water streams are now connected. So everything is now connected up to the silos. There's still a little bit more work to do, but here's where the items are going to go through up into that little elevator there. I'm going to put the signs there, and everything seems, oh, no, 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 come on, go. Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. I hate creepers so much. So I've grabbed a couple items from the base, and I'll just rebuild this real quick. Actually, you know what? That dirt is going to bother me. But you know what? It's going to help to use actually Silk Touch. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I want to do now, before I start working on the dropper circuit, is to get the filters done so that I can test everything once that is done and make sure that I have actually enough space to do that. So I'm going to do that now. Unfortunately, there was a problem with the video that I recorded on the filters, and I didn't have any game sound, so I did cut that. But you can see that I finished the filters there and the rest of where the water stream is going to go. So I thought instead I would just come down here and finish up the item droppers. Now, it doesn't have a lot of different components, and let me just see if I have all of them. Yep, and okay, looks like I'm missing the sticky piston, so let me just jump up here real quick, and hopefully I have some in my chest. Okay, there we go. And yep, I think I have everything now. Okay, let's double check. Okay, pistons, observers. Yep, okay, looks like everything. So the first thing you want to do is grab your comparator and just place it down facing out of the dropper, and then your repeater, and then a block in between. Then you want to take your observers and you want to place it so that the two faces will be facing into each other, so that when you place down your sticky piston, it'll slide over, and this is what creates the clock. And I put a few items in there. I do that sometimes just to see once I've actually completed it and everything's working. Okay, next step is I have to finish the water streams for each of the silos, but I think I'll do those off camera. I've already done one bubble column already in this video, and I don't want to be too repetitive. This video is already pretty long. But what I can do here is just finish up this this water stream here, and then we can test and make sure everything works. So what I like to do is just let the water go all the way to its max distance and then see where it ends. And then usually on the last block where the water is, I'll just take the block right out from where that water is and then throw in some ice and a pressure plate on top. And then with ice, I'll just continue the process. Now for this section here, I'm hoping that the water will go all the way to the end, but if it doesn't, it's really not that big of a deal. This here is for the, any of the remaining items is going to come down this path here, but I'm going to put in a non-stackable item filter so that I can catch all the swords. Anything else will go to maybe a garbage collection or maybe an auto dropper into some lava, because I don't really want to collect any of the rotten flesh, but if there's any other valuable items, I want to make sure that the system works. So maybe some chest will be a good idea. Okay, now that that's connected, I'm going to head over to the nether, throw a few items through the droppers just to make sure it's all working. Oh wow, that's super loud. Hopefully there is a fix for that. Well, at least the portal side's working. It's looking good, exactly what I wanted to see. And no items are getting stuck. I mean, if they do get stuck, I think I could just put down a half slab, and that might make it a little better. I'm going to follow these items in here and just check on the droppers. It sounds like it's working. And looks good. I think I might actually want to switch and have the nuggets on the other dropper, because once I build the smelter, I think it'll make it easier to actually store them. So all the nuggets, when they get smelted, they're going to come back around in another loop, and I want them to connect to the other silo. I think it'll just be a lot cleaner if I move those. But good. Looks like it's working so far. For the non-stacking item sorter, I've gone down 2 droppers from the main line because we need to take an input out of that hopper right there just to test them. Cleared a bit of blocks there because we'll need a little bit of space. And we'll place a comparator there, but I'll just lay out a few more of those blocks. I think it's something like this. Not exactly sure. Might have to figure this out as we go. And I might need those blocks later, but I'll need to remove this one here. And that one, just to make some space. Okay. Okay, now I'll grab a comparator and a repeater. Okay, and the comparator needs to be facing out of the dropper. If I can just get this right. Nope, come on. Alright, and yep, there we go. So the comparator points out of the hopper just like that, and then you have a repeater pointing into the next block. This will carry the signal to unlock that hopper. And we'll just jump up here real quick. We need to carry this signal across the top, so we'll place another block here. And we'll need a couple other items, a torch and some redstone dust. Just make a temporary platform right there because I need to put the dust across the top. Okay, and the torch there, this will permanently lock it. So once it sees an item that's non-stacking, it will unlock. So that's how that works there. And let's just test this out real quick. And let's see. Yep. Okay, good. Okay, we'll test it again with a sword. And there we go. Great. Looks like it's working. Then I'll place down a dropper just under this hopper here and then break that so I can point it directly into it. So now that the items will go into the dropper. And I'll just build up the bubble column here. And I'm sure you can tell by now, I really love bubble columns. Honestly, I don't know what this game would be like if we didn't have these. These things are great. They're super fun to build. Yeah, I don't know. I love them. I think it makes the game so much better. It does help to put them in the right spot. And hopefully I've aligned everything correctly. It looks like I have. Let's jump down here and take a look. Okay, looking good. Got good distance away from the platform. And you know I said I wouldn't use the glass panes on the side, but to be honest, I just ran out of blocks. If it doesn't work, it's easy enough to fix. I'm just gonna grab a couple gold swords and just test this out. Okay, good. I went under. Oh, yeah. Well, it would actually help if I put the dropper clock in. So let's do that now. Okay, I'm gonna have to clear out a little bit of space here, and I'm gonna need a comparator coming out, and then some place to put another observer. Okay, that's a good spot. I'm kind of winging this right now. I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to fit in. Maybe I'll just clear out a few blocks here and put the observer on the other side of the dropper. I think that should work. Just have to create enough space. Make sure I'm lighting as I go. Definitely don't want a creeper to come in and blow this up now. Okay, and somehow I'm gonna have to place the observer pointing into that dropper. Then I'm gonna have to get that signal to come back around. Actually, you know what? No, change of plan. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay. Let's put that torch back, and then instead, yeah, I think that's gonna be better. It might be a little more compact if I do it that way instead, and just put another observer underneath here. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'll go with this for now. It might not be the cleanest, but at least I think it'll work. Okay, just gotta place the observer down, and so that the face, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. And of course I gotta reverse that. Okay, perfect. I just place the piston in, facing into that observer, fill in this space here, and then I need to connect the line from the comparator down into that piston. Alright, not the cleanest build, but I think that's going to work. Alright, perfect. Let's see if this makes the entire trip. And we'll just give it a second to go around. Should hear something soon. And there it goes. And that's probably why you don't use glass panes on the side. Well, I guess I'm gonna be taking those out. Well, I tried twice, and they don't work. And, oh, I hope that didn't go down to the bottom. Oh, no. And it probably did. Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna go fix that, and I'll be right back. I'm over here in my redstone testing world here, and I've laid out a complete mock-up of how I want everything to look. So here's where the smelter is going to be, and right here is where the collection station is, where the storage is going to be, and this is where I want to activate the entire unit. I don't want it to run continuously, so I want to be able to turn it off. So what I'm thinking here is I'm going to have a track switch over to another line, where once I need it to store, it's going to break off of this cactus here and be collected in this hopper and then refilled into this dispenser. This dispenser is going to be filled up with hopper minecarts, and once the system is activated, it will dispense a minecart and put it into the system. On activation, it will create that little loop of the track there so that it'll continuously run until I turn it off. So still a little more work here. You can see that that part doesn't work yet. About an hour later, I have the minecart loader all completed and working, and I also have the activation switch all wired up and working. But as you will see here, there is a massive flaw, and I didn't notice it here. And I don't know what happened with the sound on this clip, but it's gone again. But I thought this was maybe a mistake, and I didn't realize here that cactuses will break apart hopper minecarts into their components, making this entire thing useless. So I'm testing this here, thinking that it's actually working, which will become very painful later on when I build this exact thing in my survival world. So I've just about wrapped up completing this build in the survival world, just putting the last finishing touches, just putting the lamp on, and I need to add some power to some of these rails so I can complete the loop. And I'll just place the blocks. I think right here is a good place. Yeah, that seems to be working. And right up here. No. That's the wrong spot. Okay, that looks good. I think we're ready to test this out. Really can't wait to get a sea lantern to replace the glowstone. It just looks so much better. Hopefully an ocean monument build or a guardian farm will be coming up in the near future. It's so far, this is looking good. It loops back. Okay. And then when I turn it off, the track switches, which is great. And it goes back. Okay, perfect. Now all I need to do is replace these blocks with the glass and try not to leak out water. Hopefully I can do this fast. And, no. Okay. Might have a little bit of rebuilding to do here. Shouldn't be that much of a problem. But I think the glass all the way down is going to look a lot better. And just replace this here, shouldn't be a problem. Now I'll check the redstone connecting underneath because I'm pretty sure that's messed up. Yeah, that's not connected anymore. That's pretty simple to fix. Okay, just connect everything up there. And that's looking good. And yep, okay, I'm missing a torch. Okay, so that should all be working again. Okay, just put that minecart back. Did that break? Seriously? No. It... Wow. I didn't see that in creative. Really? This whole time? And one slight panic later. Crisis averted. I've switched out the cactus, breaker, and dispenser system for this hopper magazine style dispenser. And it's working quite well. Well, I mean, slight disclaimer, I can't guarantee that this is actually going to fully work. More testing is definitely needed, but I think this is a good direction so far. What I'm learning is that I'm learning a lot from this build, especially how Minecraft works. But the circuit here is very simple. We just need a redstone line to come into this torch with a 2-tick delay just to track this piston long enough so that the minecart can pass through the glass block there, and it'll dispense a minecart. And clearly I had some stacked. Okay, well, that's an easy fix, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Well, I've completed the minecart magazine dispenser, and I've completed the smelter, so that the bamboo refilling, the whole cheaty thing has been completed as well. But I do have one correction I need to make. I built the whole thing with hopper minecarts and with the whole stacking item thing. I completely forgot that swords don't stack again. So I need to make a few adjustments here. Luckily for this, the fix is actually quite simple. All I really need to do is replace all the hopper minecarts with chest minecarts. I'll change the dispenser or the collection system that dispenses into the minecarts a little bit. Basically, instead of going into a chest, I need to have the last the point that connects into the minecart. I need that to be a hopper. The fence itself on that piston wasn't enough to actually stop it. So I did some experimenting, and I found that a glass block on that piston instead would stop the chest minecart and align the chest minecart perfectly so that it would still fill up with items. Now, I've showed a lot of mistakes in this video, and for me, it's actually what I really love about the game is the troubleshooting part of all these builds. I'm a software developer in my real life, and what I do most of the time is actually just troubleshooting. A lot of what I do is really just debugging issues and making sure things work. I would think, to me at least, the majority of actual development or software development is actually just debugging, sorting out problems, because you're dealing with a lot of legacy code and trying to figure out how that works. So going through all of these problems kind of on the fly is really what I enjoy the most. I don't know if that's something that everyone else enjoys, and I'm not sure if that's if you enjoy this as well. But for me, it's all about the learning experience and kind of figuring things out as you go. Not everything is guaranteed to work, and to me, it's about the journey and figuring it out. And like I said before, I'm coming back to this game from playing it many years ago, and these advanced features just didn't exist. So I'm learning a ton and having a lot of fun. Hopefully you are too. Hopefully you definitely like this, and I would really like to hear your feedback on this video, because this is fun for me, and if you like it as well, I would definitely like to improve the videos as much as I can and just make better content. So let me know what you think. That is a lot of swords. I'm probably wasting my time here with all these swords, and I think most people just throw these in lava, but I want to be as efficient as possible. The whole theme for my entire series is going to be fully automating everything I possibly can, and I think swords is one of them. I don't really want to be wasteful. I want to be as resource efficient as I possibly can, even though it may take a lot of time, and you're going to get a lot less swords than you will nuggets, most likely. But either way, it's fun, and most of the time it's about the journey. At least that's how I see it. And now I'm rambling, so let's move on. So I've crafted up some chest minecarts, and now I'm filling up the magazine with all of them, and I think that's the last one. That's good. One last thing I need to fix is the actual comparator system that checks the minecart to make sure that it is actually filled. So I just need to add that comparator in there, and then a chest instead of the hopper, and I'll need to fill it with swords. The signal I want out of this chest is to be when the actual chest is full, so to get that signal what you need to do is to fill up the chest with swords. And I've done some testing. It doesn't really matter what the durability is, just as long as you have the swords filled up in every single slot. And I'll just grab a few extra ones here. I did a little bit of AFKing just so I would have a few swords in the system. And just one more. And we're good. So then when the minecart comes in, the activator rail will read what's in the minecart and then it'll compare it to what's in the chest. And if the two signals match, then it will send the minecart on its way. So let's give that a test. Actually, I should probably go sleep first. Fingers crossed. Please work. There goes the minecart. We'll just give it a few seconds to fill up. And any minute now. Okay, so far so good. And the items are distributed across the furnaces. Okay, it's looking good. Alright, I'll have to check in on those two. Not sure why those didn't get filled. And the nuggets are flowing through, up the elevator, and let's check the chest. And they're making their way through. You have no idea how happy I am to see that happen. This has been such a long build, multiple days, many hours of work, and it actually works. This is amazing. I love it. Okay, I think I'm going to end the episode here. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment on the video if you have any suggestions or ideas or anything for future builds, anything I can improve. I really love to hear your feedback. So with that, I'm going to end it here. I'll see you in the next one.